Hello, welcome to The Wandering Drew. I am Drew. On today's episode, I'm going to recount 2 practice hikes, more like walks, that I took in an effort to begin reversing my lethargy over the past 2-3 months. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I mentioned about a week or 2 ago that I wanted to start doing some more training and getting in shape. I felt that I'd been laying around, hadn't been working out, hadn't been exercising since all this COVID stuff happened. And like a lot of us, we're not able to go to the gym or get out the trails. Some of them were closed. I had a lot of hikes that were planned that were altered. So I decided to take some active steps to reverse that. So on Monday, July 13th, I decided to take a hike, if it was more like a walk, and I planned on doing 20 miles, which probably was a little bit too much and too far, but I actually did do that. I did 22.75 miles, and it took me almost 8 hours to do that, and it was a really hot day. It was probably close to 90 degrees midday, and it was definitely like 96 or 97 degrees with the heat index. And I gotta say, I was hurting. When I came home, I think that was the most physically that I've ever been beat up in terms of hurting ever when I've gone hiking or walking. I was really hurt. And the next morning, it was hurting as well, but a little bit better, obviously. There's no way that if I was out on a trail somewhere, I probably would have been able to do some good mileage. I don't think I would have been able to walk far, although hopefully with a little stretching. And today, which is Wednesday, July 15th, I just came back from a short little hike in the same area that I've done before, and that was only 6.2 miles. And Nicholas, my son, came with me, and we went early before the heat becomes really hot. But toward the end, you can definitely feel the sun hitting you. We did that in about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours, maybe like 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I've done some little practice hikes. I'm going to show you some videos that I recorded during both of those little hikes. And I think I'm going to start doing one of these every week or so. I think I'm going to try and do some longer distance to try and get myself in some shape and make sure I'm staying in condition to do the Benhodi Trail later in the year. And unless I do something like this, I feel that I'm atrophying. And I definitely put a little bit of weight on, which I'm hoping to take off. And just to get my body and my muscles in condition to hike longer mileage and longer distance. Obviously it would have been a lot harder had there been a lot of elevation change, and I wouldn't have been able to do those miles. But I'm pretty happy that I did those miles. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it'll be a short video. I'll try not to ramble on too much in it. And thank you once again for joining me. Good morning. It's Monday, July 13th, and it is 5:20 in the morning. And I've just started doing a practice hike. Got up a little earlier so I can beat some of the heat of the day. But I also figure it's kind of realistic sometimes to what I do when I go hiking. Is if you can't sleep or you want to do big mileage, you just get up early and you do your hiking. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. So my goal is to do 20 miles today. Hiking, it's mostly flat. There's very little terrain, so I shouldn't have much of a problem. I'm hoping to be able to do it in about 8 to 9 hours. And if everything goes well, I will be back home just as it's really beginning to get extremely hot, like around noon or 1 o'clock. And toward the end of the hike,
I will be in a residential area, so if it does get bad and I can't make it or have a problem with gear or feet, I can always arrange a pickup. So check in later when it's a little more lit. Fortunately for me, no work today. So I decided no time like the present to push myself, get in a nice hike, and I really need to do something physically in terms of, getting my body moving and burning some calories. So, because I definitely feel over the past couple of months, I've not been doing exercise and I've not been doing anything really to keep myself in shape. And I definitely feel it physically. I don't feel good. So, did forget to bring bug spray, so I'm hoping that's the only good thing about the sun coming up is the bugs will go into hiding for the heat of the day. Right now I'm assuming they're buzzing around, but hasn't been too bad yet. Well, that's an update. Well, about 35 minutes into my hike, maybe 40 minutes in, coming up on 2 miles already done, and already made some mistakes on my part, some planning issues, and I'll run them down. First, I planned on taking a GoPro, but I pretty much decided on not bringing it. I was really surprised that my pack weighs 19.9 pounds, and I have about 5.5 to maybe 6 liters of water in it. I'm just passing through the gate here to where I'm gonna hike. It's more like a levee. It's not really a trail. And so that was the first mistake. I had also I charged up a battery backup that I was going to bring with me so I can keep my phone, and assumingly I had the GoPro charged during the day, because the batteries on those things don't really last too long. And I believe I left the battery bank charging on my counter in an effort to be quiet and not wake up my whole house when I left early. I was doing things kind of last minute. I forgot to turn my GPS on when I left my house, and I was probably about 1.3 miles in before I realized I hadn't turned on my GPS. So those are the biggest 3 mistakes. Additionally, I plan on walking about 1.5 miles, 2 miles. Just before the trailhead, there's a coffee shop, a Dunkin' Donuts actually, and I figured, let me walk there and I'll grab some coffee and then go. Well, I'm walking faster than planned. The lobby's not open until 6 o'clock in the morning, so not wanting to wait the 10 to 15 minutes for them to open up, I decided to just keep walking. So those are the things that happened. Additionally, I decided to take out my headlamp, and I was going to use it in certain spots. As you can tell now, it's just about dawn. You can see the beginnings of the sky lightening up, so I really don't need it. I can make by without it. But there were a couple of spots where there's no lighting, and it's early, and after about a minute or two of use, the batteries died on it. So, and that's when I remembered, when I was unpacking my pack, there were a package of batteries in there that I had purchased when I was going to go on the AT, and I was using my headlamp obviously at night, and I realized that the batteries were probably a bit low. It was also cold up there, so batteries don't do well in the cold, and I had bought an extra pack of batteries. So, not remembering when I was unpacking my pack that those pack of batteries was because the batteries in the light were getting low, I left them home and discarded them from the pack. And once I started turning the light and I see it go dim, I remember then that, oh yeah, the batteries were low and I meant to replace them. So little things like that totally alter and change your hike. If this was a real hike and I was out in the woods, I'd have to just deal with it. I don't have a light now, or I'd use my phone when I need it. Most likely you can get by a lot of the time without a light, with some planning, but it's really nice to have one. And that would be it definitely would alter it. And then first chance I would get, I'd probably try to get some batteries, or just do without it and, you know, adapt and overcome. Great view of the moon on top of me while I'm hiking, even though it's not a whole thing. Unfortunately, with the sky lightning, most of the stars are beginning to fade, so they're not visible anymore. Speaking of bugs. And this is the view on my path. In the distance, you might be able to see there's a red flashing light. That's a tower down there. And that's pretty much where I'm heading to, all the way down there. Pan across to, you can barely see the stars now. And I have one very persistent bug, but this is pretty much it. For the next 2 hours or so, this is my view. And then hopefully I'll get off and the view will be slightly different, but more the same. So when I was recording the last segment, I realized I didn't have my glasses on. Figured I took them off. Then I realized they actually fell off while I was fixing my buff and my hat to keep the bugs off me. So I probably walked back. Luckily it wasn't that far. I'm thinking maybe a half mile at the best. But because I generally always walk along the right side of the trail, I pretty much knew they would probably be right there. So fortunately for me, I have recovered them. So I saved my trip to, I guess Walmart or somewhere to replace them, and a couple of $100 probably at the same time. Although they do need to be replaced. Now they're a little bit dirty. I'll clean them off. But just goes to show you how comedy of errors, just little small things that, you know, I'm preoccupied, worried about the bugs, getting my buff on, and I don't realize that my glasses fell. And you really don't hear it when you're walking. You know, your footsteps, they don't make a lot of noise. It's not like something big falling that you realize that you dropped it. And it's easy to make a mistake. Fortunately, I realized it early on, and I didn't walk. If I had walked much further, I'd probably just give them up, or say, you know what, I'll walk back and hope I can find them. But more than likely, you know, the chance of you coming across them again is slim to none. The good thing about a trail, or in this case this pathway, it's not very heavily used, and there's a good probability it's just going to be laying right there. So pretty fortunate for me. So that's it. Not off to a very good start, but we're still doing it. So hopefully that's the last mistake of the day. I can slow things down and be more intentional. I reached the part where finally the highway turns away from the path, so it's going to start dropping down in noise level and a little more peaceful, and go through an undeveloped area, and then you start hitting a couple of houses along here. Been doing good. Definitely feel the temperature increasing. It's getting more hot and humid. It's 7:45 now. So I've been hiking for about 2 hours and 20 something minutes, and I've done 7.5 miles. And that's probably including an extra quarter to a half mile that I had to go back for my glasses. Well, I decided to stop and take a rest. Here I just met with a trail or the path I was walking on meets a road, and I can head in towards civilization. It's 9:10. I've been here for about 2-3 minutes. I had to stop. I'm mixing up a drink with some electrolytes, since I really haven't had any electrolytes since I started over 3 hours ago. Other than that, it's been pretty. I saw another biker or two after I recorded last, but I've got, let's see, 11.5 miles in and 3 hours and 50 minutes. So I've been averaging about 3 miles an hour or so. Take a little break. I'm going to grab a snack, and then I'm going to start doing my walk back toward where I'm staying, toward home. And unfortunately, that's pretty much a road walk. So, I mean, this really wasn't much of a trail, but it was off the beaten path, so to say. It's out of the way. I don't have to worry about cars. Don't have to worry about traffic. And there is nature pretty much all alongside you where you're walking. Now it'll probably be mostly sidewalks, concrete, and I'll have a little snack now. I'll feel a little better. It's coming toward the hotter part of the day though, so that's going to get worse. So I figured let me get some electrolytes in me now before it gets too bad. Try and stay in front of it. I've been drinking constantly, so I know I'm hydrated. Definitely sweating a lot though. It's hot out here and humid, so you feel it, and it's only going to get worse. So that's why I'm hoping to be home by 1 o'clock. And for the worst part of the day to be home with. If it gets really bad, I can always call for a ride or decide to take a stop and a rest somewhere like I'm doing now. I'm not going to wait too long. I don't want to get cold again, and your muscles. It always feels worse when you start again. It's nice to stop, but it really doesn't feel good to start. Those first couple of steps to me are the hardest. I've done about 16.8 miles. I decided to take a break and stop here at the gas station and get me a cold drink. And I don't know, I got myself a diet, well, Dr. Pepper, but I bought a diet. Trying to cut on calories, right? That's the whole purpose of doing this. Sweat, work, so I can burn some calories. I've been hiking for about 5 hours and 45 minutes now. So, not bad. I have about 6 miles left to go to complete my hike for the day. So I'll definitely be doing over the 20-mile mark. My feet are definitely feeling it and hurting. It's 11:05 in the morning, so I started, a little after 5. So, in 15 minutes it'll be 6 hours. So, but this is a perfect example of how, if you want to do good mileage or big mileage, you don't have to necessarily be fast. You have to be smart, And so you be the tortoise, not the hare. So you just start early and you just keep hiking, and time is your friend, because the longer you hike, obviously the farther you go. So if you're not one of these people that can do 3 to 4 miles an hour, you can, instead of sleeping and waking up and making breakfast and everything and starting at 8 o'clock or something, try getting up early at 4 or 5 and trying to do an hour or two and then stop for breakfast. And you'll probably notice that you'll tend to do more mileage that way. And I love the fact that here it is. If I really wanted to, if I was out on a hike, and obviously this was easy, it's pretty much flat, but let's say I was on a hike and it's already 11 o'clock and I've done 15, 16 miles. If I really want to, I can stop for the day, and I don't feel that bad. I just feel like I'm wasting hours personally. But if I wanted to stop, I could, and I still did a decent day's hike. So one of the good things about getting an early start is, I don't know why, but it seems like you seem to do a lot of mileage, in the morning, and the afternoon tends to not be as productive. Just psychological, obviously, but that's the way it feels to me when I do it. So I like the fact that I can get an early start, get some miles in early, and get my hike done, and still have time to, if I want to, do extra or stop and take it easy. I don't usually stop and take a break, but I am today. I'm feeling it. My feet are hurting because I've been walking on mostly hard packed soil. In this case, the last 5 or 6 miles have been on pretty much concrete. So that's really hard on your feet. So I feel it. And I'm not used to walking this distance every day anymore. You know, I'm not in good shape as I once was, or, you know, if I was training and doing hiking. So it's much harder on me and my feet than it would be, let's say, if I was on a trail. You know, the ground gives a little bit, and hopefully there'll be a little cushioning and softening to that. So I also probably wouldn't be doing as well as I'm doing for as many miles. But anyway, I'm going to take a little break, enjoy my drink. I'm going to rotate some water and mix up some electrolytes, and then I'm going to probably start hiking again. If I can keep my current pace, it's 2 more hours, but I'll probably slow down a little bit. But maybe not. I thought I was slowing down, and I looked at my speed, and it's pretty much been consistently about 3 miles an hour. So I'm going to try and keep that pace up, and that gets me home in 2 hours. So 6 more miles. I got about 4.2 miles left to go. I've done 18 and a half miles now, plus a little extra. And it's about 94 degrees out here with the heat index. It's 11:50. So I'm hoping in about another hour and a half or so, I should be done for the day with a nice long hike. Practice run. Obviously not a lot of elevation change. Really wasn't challenging in terms of that, but was challenging in the sense that, you know, it's long distance and a lot of it is road walk. Really hard on your feet. So I'm definitely feeling it. I'm looking forward to stopping, taking off these shoes and socks and cooling my feet off. So, but no rest until we're done. And also, this, and obviously, I mentioned the importance of starting early, but also, this is the mental aspect of the hike sometimes. You know, I want to quit, I want to stop. I could have gotten picked up at any point. I was even contacted by someone who offering to come pick me up. And I said no. And even when you think you can't go, you can go. You know, your body wants to quit long before it's physically exhausted and unable to continue. And that's when you have to control your body and say to it, no, we're going to keep going. You know, same thing to me. I plan this out. I know it's doable. I'm not risking injury or pushing myself too far, but it has to be something where you push yourself sometimes out of your comfort zone and tell yourself, this is something I'm going to do. Not only can I do it, but we're going to do it. And your body wants to stop because your body doesn't want to exercise. Let's face it, we'd all like to probably not exercise. It's not fun. We might do certain things because we enjoy it, but you know, this is not fun. I'm at the point right now where, you know, it's actually, you know, my feet hurt a little bit. I wouldn't mind stopping, but it's the mental aspect that's going to keep me going to saying, no, I said I was going to do this and I'm going to. And that's the part that you really have to channel. And that's what makes that's what makes it able for people to do long distance hikes in the first place. Because most people quit, and it's not because of the physical, it's because of the mental aspect. And I find that hard too. Even when I start, even now I'm asking myself, why am I out here doing this? You know? But then I remember, one, I want to get in shape, and it's important to me, and I feel like I've gotten out of shape, and I can feel the difference physically in my body. So, is that an important enough goal for you to push yourself out of your comfort zone? And if the answer is yes, then push yourself and you'll do it. You know, if it's not, you'll find the reason to quit, because there's always a reason to stop. Always. You know? It can be, you know, it's really hot outside, I'm tired, my feet hurt. You know, I can do this another day. Or, you know, if I really wanted to, I could go home, rest for 3-4 hours, and then go out and do another 2-3 miles on their own, and I'd have the same distance, but it wouldn't be quite the same because it's not contiguous. And I'm not pushing my body as far as I can. So that's the difference. You know, most people that finished long distance hikes, especially very long distance, like AT, Pacific Crest Trail, things like that, it's the mental aspect that is where they win the battle. Because most people quit. Some people quit on the first day, and they approach trail even. You know, they just realize it's not for them. It's romantic. It sounds romantic going out in the woods and hiking, but it's not. Not always. Sometimes it's rough. It's ugly. You know, you get blisters. You lose a nail sometimes. You can fall and get hurt. You're tired. You're hot. There's bugs. Could be bears. Could be snakes. It rains on you. You're uncomfortable. Could be cold. You know, all these things wear you down. And if you're not mentally prepared to deal with them, and you don't say to yourself, okay, this is, you know, whatever. You know, I'm wishing it would rain right now because it would cool off. You know, obviously then I'd probably be cursing that I'm wet. It's just human nature, but I'm okay with that. You get what you get. Nature provides whatever the weather is going to be, and you have to adapt to it. We can't control it. So, but there are some things you could do. Like I could have stopped here, taken a rest for an hour or two, and then moved on. During the hottest part of the day, which is coming up, I could easily just say I'm going to take a siesta or rest for a little while, take a nap, reinvigorate myself, and then keep on going. And that to me is a lot of the reason why I like hiking early. Get your mileage done. Once it's behind you, it's done. You can't take it away from you. Even if I stop right now, I've done, an 18 and a half, 19 mile day. That's respectable in anybody's book, I think. That, that's a good mileage day. That's more than I would normally do if I was hiking regularly. So, but that's the game you have to play with yourself and prepare yourself and toughen yourself mentally in order to do long distance hiking. If you're out for a day hike, and you make your mileage simple and reasonable, then it's not that big of a deal. But if you're going to do overnight or long distance hiking or anything challenging, even a day hike can be challenging, but you got to push yourself, because it's easy to say, I can't do this, or to quit, especially if you're by yourself, because who's there to judge you but you, So, but, deep down inside, we lie to ourselves so we feel better, but, we know the truth. If I quit, I know the truth. I may make an excuse for it and tell other people that, and they'll buy it because they don't know any better. Maybe, but barring an injury, I'm going to finish. And that's the attitude you have to take. So, okay, I'll check in when I get close. I'm going to try and hike another hour before I record again. It's about 10 after 1 now. I'm a half mile away from my destination. It's 89 degrees and 97 is the heat index. So it's definitely a very hot and humid day. Like I said, it's about 10 after 1. I've gone 22.25 miles in 7 hours and 48 minutes or so. So I should finish up around the 8-hour mark, and it should be well-earned rest. I gotta say, there was a time that even I was walking and thinking about, I don't know if I could do this. I was thinking about getting picked up, started getting pain in both my feet, pain that I've never really had before. It's basically on the heel and shooting up. And my back is obviously hurting as well, but that's when you, like I said, you got to dig deep and say, I can do this. And your body and your mind will remember that you pushed through and you made it. And next time it'll be easier for you to do that, to dip into that well and push yourself a little bit. Your body will remember it, your mind will remember it. So, unless you're having real pain, and the difference between pain, that's hurt, and pain that's just, I'm tired and I don't like this. And I'm hoping that my pain is just, I don't like this. Definitely more tired than I expected to be. I gotta say, I'm wiped out. I've never really felt this fatigued in terms of physically in walking so much. But, obviously I would have gone this far if I was really hiking on a trail, and especially not starting out. I haven't really hiked in several weeks to push myself. The longest hike I've probably done is 6 or 7 miles in, probably the last 3 months. So this was definitely not a good move in terms of fitness and ramping up the miles. And now at least I'm going to pay for it tonight and tomorrow, and probably even the next day. I was going to try and do another hike 2 days from now. That's definitely not going to be as long. It's going to be a lot shorter if I do it at all. I may skip that, give my body a chance to rest. But that's the price you pay for jumping in with both feet and pushing yourself. And that's why, it's best to start slow and let your body acclimate and build up. But, physically I knew I could probably do this. I probably should have stopped, the 18, 19 mile mark probably was where I should have probably stopped. But the route I picked this time was a little bit longer. Obviously, going back for my glasses, an extra half mile, I'd be home already. So, but that's going to be it. I'll probably do another little post review, see how I'm feeling later tonight. Maybe I'll record a little bit more. But that's going to be it. So basically, I'll give you the total stats when I'm done to see how far I did. But we're less than a half mile now. So, we'll end up doing 22 3/4 of a mile or so.
So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like what I'm doing here, you like these videos, please leave a comment below, give me a thumbs up, or consider subscribing to the channel. I hope that you enjoyed coming along on my walk with me. Till we meet again.